Hello, Braves country. This is Coach Ken Anderson, and very excited to welcome all y'all to episode number one of the newest podcast Braves Twitter is going to have, and YouTube and all your other social media platforms. Hardcore Braves. And doing this concept, we want to bring you the daily intake. So much content. We're going to break everything down. And I was looking out for somebody and got kind of a blessing a little bit when Mr. Ryan from Tomahawk Talk has decided to join us on this team. And Ryan, good to have you here.
It's good to be here, man. Excited on this new journey and really looking forward to getting to work with you.
Yeah, we're excited too. And, one of the things that we want to do for you is create a daily content. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to try to break down each series. During those series, things come up. We're going to break those down. Ron's going to really control the hitting side. I've been talking to someone about the pitching side. We have not finalized that, but hopefully will. But I want to break down the coaches' decisions. I know y'all are always interesting. They're not always right. We make many mistakes. But as the series goes on, why did Walt go with Pyumps in the seventh and not go with Dylan in the seventh? Those kind of things. Ryan's going to be able to notice the hitters, what Hires is trying to do with them, why they're on a hitting streak, why they're not on a hitting streak. So hopefully you like our content. We're going to start off our first episode by breaking down the 2026 season as we head into it on Friday night when the Royals come to town with a great pitching matchup, Ryan. Cole Reagans and Chris Sale. You excited?
Oh, dude, battle of the lefties. I'm very excited. I'm excited that Braves baseball's back. I know it's I know it's also a bit of a shaky start with spring training and all, but I mean, I've really enjoyed watching our boys play in the spring, and I'm ready for the season to get rolling.
Yeah, same here. We won the spring training championship. So let's get us a couple of different ones this year. Let's get a division championship in the World Series. So as we go into it, the first thing that goes in any season is the acquisitions and the losses that you lose off your team. The Braves were able to keep Iggy, which is I think was good, and Kenley. Tyler Kenley's back. They did add Suarez, Robert Suarez. So Suarez is coming in, Mauricio Dubon, and Mike Yastrzemski. The only losses we had this year were Ozuna, who went to the Pirates, and Pierce Johnson, who went to the Reds. But the biggest acquisition in my eyes is Robert Suarez coming in to give us that second closer, and I think he's going to do an outstanding job. I expected him to get many closing opportunities, especially when Iggy's down, and I'm excited about that. And as far as the other pitcher getting him back, Kenley and Iggy, I'm very excited. I thought Kenley pitched great at the end of the year last year, and I like the way our bullpen lines up with those three and with Dylan. And, as far as the hitters coming in, Dubon and Yaz, I think they add a lot of versatility to the team. Getting Kim back is also a big plus. But I like what we did, and I don't think we really lost a lot. I hate Pierce being gone, and Zuna was a great clubhouse guy, but I think they're replaceable. What about you, Ryan?
Man, I was a very avid guy that I wanted Robert Suarez. I think you just needed a dude that could blow 100 by everybody in the back end of the bullpen. I love Iggy. Iggy has had his ups and downs, but he's been by far more good than he has bad. I'm very glad we kept Iggy. He just locks down the ninth inning and he gives you that stable piece back there, and then Suarez slams the door down in the eighth. And like you said, the ninth inning too when Iggy's down. I mean, and when playoff time comes around, that's when I think you're really going to see Suarez really shine because, as you know, Ken, the power stuff really plays well in the postseason, and this dude's got an electric arm with a devastating changeup.
Yeah, he's outstanding, and in postseason the bullpen is what wins a lot of these games. And the one thing the Braves will have a strength in is their bullpen, and the biggest part is because Suarez and Iggy on that back end.
100%.
Yeah. So what about Dubon and Yaz joining the team, Ryan? You excited about those?
I Yeah, it's more so now after his spring training. He really had a really good spring training. He was Barry Bonds just about
Yeah,
spring training. I mean, I think he had something like ridiculous above a 1.5 OPS, which I get it's spring training, but I mean, there were some swing adjustments that the guys on another podcast broke down, and he's really found a groove so far in Atlanta. He's going to play a bigger role than we anticipated this year with our Mister Needle in the Butt gentleman Jurickson Profar going down for 162 games. So hate that, but time for Yaz to step up. Dubon's going to fill in at shortstop for a little bit, and then when HSK comes back, we got our platoon out in left field. I like it. It adds a lot of versatility and something that we didn't have last year.
yeah, very true. And I left Mr. Profer off the losses for the season. We're not going to try to say his name too much this year, Braves fans, because uh, he's gone, and we don't think he'll play ever again in a Braves uniform. At least that's what I'm hoping.
They should.
Uh, Now, the one thing that happened this year is we have impact injuries always going to every year, and we knew Hassan Kim got the word earlier was going to be down for a little while, and him and Sean Murphy. Murphy, of course, had the surgery. Both are doing very well. As of this podcast, word is coming out. They're coming back sooner than later. Good news today is that they put him on the 10-day IL instead of the 60-day IL. So they are thinking they're going to get him back sooner than later. That's good. Um, Couple that we didn't think were going to happen. Joey Wentz got hurt in a game covering first, and then Hurston Waldrop had some damage scar in there. But we lost our number 2 starter this year, and Spencer Swellenbach, and that's a big loss. And it's going to be the storyline going into 2026 is can the Braves somehow figure out the starting rotation? The bullpen looks strong. And now with Hurston going down and Joey going down, and, we didn't really talk about Strider a lot, but he's going to definitely miss the first 2 weeks. Good news.
Yep.
It looks like he's going to be back sooner than later, too. But losing Swellenbach, that number 2 starter, there are not a lot of teams in baseball that would not affect, and we're one of them that's going to affect hard. It's going to be interesting how we put it all together, but to me, that's the biggest injury going into 2026. What do you think, Ryan?
No doubt. I love Spencer Strider, and he's going to be a big key to the Braves' success in the foreseeable future. But he's so far in his comeback from his internal brace procedure, he's lost a step. I think that's fair to say. Schwellenbach was that number 2, 1B type pitcher, and you had win day every day, twice a week when you had Sale and Schwelly going out there, and without Schwelly for the first 2 to 3 months, if not longer than that, it sucks. I mean, it's always going to come down to the offense and that they're going to have to perform, but it just adds more pressure to the pitching staff already when it was already thin coming into the year, and it's been thinned out even more in spring training. And there's unfortunately a lot of question marks surrounding the guys in the pitching rotation right now, besides Chris Sale.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing that was probably the most frustrating thing this spring was you got the news on Swelly and Waldrop, and Joey Wentz looked like he had took a turn and was going to really step up for us, and
Oh
then him
man,
just to step over at first and Terry's ACL. That's just or MCL. I can't remember right now, Ryan. You can correct me on which one it was, but that to me was a big loss because he would have brought the other left-hander into the rotation that we need with Sale. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes forward. And as Walt Weiss said, you just move on and the next guy up. And I know fans hate hearing that, but that's what you have to do. You can't. They're not going to go back and say they're not injured. So we got the injury, we got to deal with it. So that really affects the opening day roster.
it does.
As we go on the opening day roster here, Ryan, they released it this morning of the as we're broadcasting this or taping this, and not a lot of surprises on there to me. Me and you both thought Farmer could make it, and he did. I think he did enough to make it. He gives you versatility too. I think that's what they're looking for. Mateo can fly.
Yeah, you can.
Really good glove. So it did not surprise me. We knew Jonah Heim was going to make the team, and he did. And the good thing about Jonah is everybody looks at his spring training numbers, the 180 something batting average, but he was zero forever. He actually started picking it up as spring training went on, and he's not going to play a lot, but he's going to be there to help out. And then you get to the outfielders, and you know we knew Eli and all of them was going to make it, but Dom Smith making the team, it was tough. I thought they might go gamble, but I understand you almost couldn't keep Don Smith off the roster. So there weren't, to me, too many surprises on there as far as the hitters, as far as the pitchers. I mean, I was really kind of surprised that, with a couple of guys they went with over some of the guys they sent down. But I understand why J.R. Ritchie's going to AAA. They want him to throw innings, and that makes a lot of sense. And they saw what happened to Didier last year. They want to try to slow roll him into this season. I expect him to maybe be an opener, because that is a reliever. They can make a start a game. He can give you 3 innings, and that's good. And so him making it is solid. What we get out of Suarez is going to be huge for us. And the little pickup of Aldo Beto is huge. Anybody's ever watched this kid throw? He has electric stuff. And if Hefner can figure him out to control that stuff, he could be a nice pickup. And as I tweeted out today, everybody wants to kill AA sometimes on these they call garbage moves. They're picking up these waiver guys. But it's how we won the 2021 World Series, basically. We went and got a bunch of guys nobody wanted, and we won the World Series. And that's what you do as a GM. You try to find, diamonds in the middle of a cow manure and try to, polish them up and let them play. And Beto might be that guy for us this year. His arm is electric, and he could be a big surprise. And if we can put everything together and get through the first few months and get a blessing with Swelly or Waldrop or somebody coming back that we didn't know, this could actually be a pretty good starting rotation by the end of the year and a pitching staff. So the opening day roster to me did not surprise me. It looks solid. But what about you, Ryan? You see anything on there that kind of jumps out to you?
No, nothing really jumps out to me. The Osvaldo Beto signing, obviously, the last second was, I mean, you're just kind of taking a shot in the dark, and hopefully that works out. If it doesn't, you don't really lose anything. But I like the kid's arm. I don't think that's ever been a question. It's always been command with him. I mean, we all knew Eli was going to be on there. We all had a feeling Kyle Farmer, Jorge Mateo already earned their spots. I think the last roster spot was really Dom Smith, but he pretty much hit his way on to the club during spring training. He had a really good spring, so you can, if we let him go, somebody else is going to pick him up.
Yeah.
And we already had really good versatility with Mateo. I think that's why Wisely got left off, and you already had some outfield depth with Eli White. Kind of didn't really need the other option. So, and Dom Smith, we didn't really have anybody else to play first base, so he's backup first baseman. He's going to be doing a lot of DHing against right-handed hitters. So
It's going to be interesting tomorrow, Friday night. I mean, where they're going to throw Reagans against us. We get to see what Walt's thinking about as far as against the left-handed pitcher. Because when I look at the opening day roster, that's the one big question is when we open up. Now, when Murphy and Kim come back, it's over. We know what the lineup's going to be like. But what do you think the lineup will look like Friday night when Reagans gets on the mound? Who's going to DH? Who's going to be in those spots? I guess Yaz is going to play left-handed against lefties right now. But who's going to DH?
I think Yaz DHs. I think you put Eli White out in left field.
Okay.
I think that's what I would go with, and I think that's probably what Walt's going to think. I mean, you could theoretically DH Jonah Heim if you wanted to. If you have an injury, you're kind of screwed. So,
Yeah.
I'm not going to DH my catcher right now until Murphy comes back. But I think you see Eli White in left field over Yaz just because of speed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with maybe Farmer. I don't know. I'm very interested to get to the ballpark to see what that lineup rolls out as, because that's going to be very interesting this year. But yeah, the opening day roster. Anything in the pitching staff that you see that jumps out?
Besides us missing our number two, our number three, and our first arm from AAA, which would have been Waldrop, or theoretically our number five if you wanted to go there. It's I'm interested to see what they do in the number five spot. I know what I want out of the number five spot, Ken. You know what I want out of the number five spot.
Oh
What do
yeah,
you think you're gonna do? What do you think they're gonna do in the number five spot?
I would think that I think Suarez is going to take the ball, and and I this is we'll get into it a little bit further, but they really could use a left-handed starter to step up here, just to have another lefty because they're going to way it looks like they're going to try to roll through the season with a six-man staff the first two times through because they have 13 games to start the season straight, and you don't want to put that kind. You already have the injuries. You don't want to put that wear and tear on Grant and Chris and even Bryce. I mean, Bryce is very durable, but you know, not this early on in the year. So you know, we'll see. You know, like I said, I think Fuentes can throw that sixth game if needed as an opener. I would like that, whether they do that or not, or maybe even Bummer throw an opener. You know, somebody else. You know, I think it's going to be a bullpen game, but who knows? It's going to be interesting how they approach this. Maybe Beto gets the ball in one of these games. Uh, what we do know is what's going to start and go through Monday, and after that, I think only Walt and AA and Jeremy know what's going to happen. I don't even think the players know at this point
No.
because again, if they get in some slugfest, some extra inning games against the Royals, Katie bar the door, it could throw the whole game plan out the window anyhow. So I don't. I think only those three really kind of know, and it'll be interesting when we roll into Tuesday. Well, we'll know Monday night at the game, but who's going to pitch that Tuesday and Wednesday game against the A's? So it'll be interesting. We'll see, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure. We're going to move on and talk some of the bigger questions that everybody has. You know, the one question that all media likes to ask the managers, the players, what is the biggest X factor going into the season besides health? Every Braves fan just goes health. But guess what, Braves fans? Me letting you know a little something. That's everybody. Everybody has health questions. Just look in our own division. The Phillies right now are starting the year without Wheeler. They got JT Realmuto, who's banged up all the time. Bryce, y'all see what he looked like in the WBC. Who knows? Is his body giving out? So every team has their questions. So for you, Ryan, what is the biggest X factor inside of health going into this season?
My biggest X factor for the Atlanta Braves in 2026 is going to be big, thick Austin Riley returning to form. Y'all have heard me say it multiple times. Look, Ronald Acuna Jr. by far is the most talented player in the Atlanta Braves. I think that's a given. If we lose that dude, it's going to be tough sledding. There's no doubt about it. I'm banking on Ronnie being healthy and being Ronnie, but supporting cast, the most important player in my opinion is going to be that dude right there. Last time the Braves offense was good, Ken, was 2023, and that was the last good year we had out of Austin Riley. I don't think there's any coincidence there. I'm just saying.
No
Ronald's
coincidence.
been good in 25. We didn't do much. Matt Olson's been Matt Olson the last 2 years. We didn't do much in those last 2 years. This is the one constant that just hasn't been quite right in a couple of years. That's my
Yeah,
answer.
it's like I tell Braves fans all the time. There's a reason why he's the highest paid Brave. The Braves management thinks the same thing. They go with Austin goes, and everybody knows the ballpark's electric when he's on fire. He just the whole
Oh,
thing
it's
just gets
different.
going, and he looks like he's ready to get off to a good start too. He finished spring on fire.
He looks so good in spring training. I mean, how many opposite field home runs did he hit in the last 2 years?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
maybe one,
No,
maybe two.
he's hit a few more than that, but he's not hit many, and he crushed them this spring. I'm
I think
telling
he
you
hit
what.
3 in spring.
Yeah, it's amazing, and that many games. I mean,
Yeah.
the pace that would be on is just amazing. So he gets off started hot. It's the difference. If we get off to a hot start, this team tends to start off really slow offensively. They cannot afford to do that this year. So Austin coming out of the gate hot would be he's somebody that usually starts slow too. So if he comes out of the gate hot, I agree with you. He could be a big X factor and the reason why we get back to the playoffs. Another guy in that same realm that starts off slow every year is my X factor. God bless him. He's one of my favorite players. You know, he follows me on Twitter, so he's going to hear this. Is Michael Harris. Money is ready to have a complete season, in my opinion. When he does that, it lengthens the lineup. Whether you get into the thing batting, not where he bats is irrelevant. When money is right, he can bat anywhere in the lineup, and this lineup gets lengthened so much. And the one thing that people miss on is when Michael's right, he crushes left-handed pitching too. And that's a big plus of that lineup. And if he has two halves to a season, he has a chance to just be one of those special players. I have a friend of mine, he's a huge Cubs fan, and me and him debate all the time who's better, PCA or Michael Harris.
Huh.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt who's better, but I like his loyalty. But one thing we always talk about, if you took PCA's first halves and Michael's second halves, you'd have Mickey Mantle. That's how good Michael has been in the second half. And if Michael, we're not asking for Mickey Mantle, but Michael does anything in the first half, he's probably going to hit 300 on the season game. He just hits 250 in the first half. He crushes as the season goes on. And I think he's ready for a breakout year. It's funny, both our X factors are for the same reason. Get off to a good start. They both normally start slow, and this is a chance for both of them to get out and carry this team off to a winning record in April, which will propel them the rest of the year to a successful season. So I think we're both spot on there, Ryan.
What's funny is, I mean, Michael had a decent year in 24, but his last really good season was 2023.
Yeah, yeah,
It's funny how that is.
it is. And that brings you to what's the biggest question this season? And I just tapped on it with can the offense be more complete, more consistent? So the pitching's not pressing. Our starting rotation, I don't think has the ability. I'm going to get killed on Twitter by the homers, but has the ability to go through a stretch where they're trying to hold the teams down to under 2 runs, like through a 5 game stretch. So the offense
Right.
has to be consistent this year. To me, that's the biggest question. Is they've not had those gaps. And I know that Matt talks about that all the time. Matt Olson's one that talks about it all the time. He wants to be a consistent hitter. He knows he's a great hitter, but he wants to be a consistent hitter. And if he becomes a consistent hitter and Michael becomes a consistent hitter and Ozzie becomes a consistent hitter, this offense will take off. I mean, that's what it did in 23. They were consistent. They just take off. So that's my biggest question. I know that you've talked to me a little bit what your biggest question is, and it's on the pitching side, and I
It
totally agree.
is.
That's another one. So what do you think, Ryan?
I First off, my biggest key is we're gonna say it again for the 500th time. It's gonna be health. Can the guy stay healthy? I think that's a given. But my biggest question mark is this guy that y'all are seeing if y'all are on YouTube. It is Reynaldo Lopez. I have serious questions and concerns about this guy. And look, velocity is one thing. Me and you have discussed it a lot in private, Kim. Look, velocity is great, but you need to learn how to pitch too. You can't throw 97, 98, 99 miles an hour for 180 innings and do it multiple years in a row. I think it's been proven now that it's just not sustainable. And even the data and info that all these people are gathering to study these injuries are now finding out that high velo, high spin rate thrown multiple times in a row leads to increased injuries. I don't think anybody's shocked by that. But the fact that he is only throwing 88 and we're at the end of spring training now, that is very concerning because the dude right here that I'm watching is really good. The the guy that I'm seeing in spring training the last couple years where health's been a concern and he's only throwing low 90s, maybe scratching 90 on a good day now. I and he's supposed to be our number 3. And you already got Bryce and you already got Grant who's got a partially torn UCL. You kind of need this dude to be that solidifying number 3, and I don't think he's that guy right now. And that's very concerning for me.
Yeah, does that kind of moving on? Does that add to? Is that what your biggest frustration is going into the season that we're going to ask Ronaldo to be the number 3?
Yeah, the fact that we didn't add a starting pitcher is
Yeah.
blasphemous right now. I mean, and it's not like you needed a world beater. I mean, Chris Bassett would have done the job, Ken.
Yep.
I was preaching for Chris Bassett, and
Yeah, he would have ate a lot of innings for us. I was the same way. That's my biggest frustration is that he's not living up to his word. I mean, he got on the radio, and I'm a AA defender, and a lot of people sometimes I just try to point out that he's human,
yep.
and this here was a human mistake. He got on the thing, and as the winter went on, you could see more and more we needed a starting pitcher, and I think he got. I think he got fooled a little bit about the good stuff coming out of reports on Ronaldo and Grant in December, and it slowed him down. I wish they wouldn't even give him those reports and let him just go ahead and sign somebody or trade for somebody, because now we're back in the same situation where we cannot lose any more starting pitching. None. We can. Nobody else can go down, and unless we're willing to make a trade, and then everybody's going to hold us under and throwing more prospects because they
Yeah.
know we're in desperation mode. So my biggest frustration is to add on to yours is that we should have somehow done something, added a starter, but it's more like A didn't live up to his word. And I'm a defender, and I always see where he's trying to go, and it doesn't mean it's always right, but I understand what he's trying to do with roster management and the way he does his payroll, and whether that's coming from the top or what he's been, I don't care about that. I see what he's trying to do. But in this case here, he got on the radio and he told everybody for months that we were going to add a starter and then didn't do it. That just blows my mind. And even to this point now, I don't want any part of Giolito like Braves Country does,
No.
or
Mm-mm.
Ken Rosenthal or John Heyman try to shove them down our throats. But even toward the end, when he still had the kid name just went out of my head that went to the Latel or
Yes.
Corbin out there that could have 8 innings for us, and he still didn't add them. I just don't. I just don't get it, and it's a. I'm frustrated, but I'm still a supporter. I'm still a supporter of him. I still believe in him. He's got an extra 15 million. It's probably about 25, 28 million. Me and Nakahoma and some of us who do the numbers look like that's about what he can spend throughout the year. That's enough to add more players. So, and I think he's doing the right thing by watching to see how this plays out, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think we're both on this. I think it's Braves country's biggest frustration right now is we didn't have a starter.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. That's all you see on Braves Twitter every day is why didn't you add a starting pitcher? And that's putting it very nicely. That's probably the nicest you'll see on Braves Twitter nowadays, Ken.
yeah. I wonder if BJ and CJ are going to, you know, have the kahunas. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes when they invite him into the press box. They always do the first game of the year, and
Yo,
whether how they're going to word that question. They're both professionals. They'll word it the right way, but it's going to be interesting what his response is, and he knows it's coming. They're going to have to ask the question because they're going to be,
absolutely.
it's going to be interesting. So, because of that, of all years, this year, somebody's going to have to make a prospect's going to have to make a huge impact for us to go where we want to go. Of all years, now eventually we knew last year that year, but I didn't feel that way even last year. But this year seems to be the year somebody of our top 10 prospects have got to come in sometime. It could be August, September, it might be April, May, who knows? Who do you think can have the biggest impact as the season goes on?
Oh man, an old friend of mine is gonna really love me for this one. It's gonna be J.R. Ritchie. I I love what I've seen from Didier this spring training. I don't think there's a question about it. That kid's really turned a corner and he's legit. But the main concern for him is his build up for a starter. Well, you got this dude who's built up for a starting pitcher and probably should be up with the club right now if the injury happened a little bit earlier. But he's going to come up. He's going to throw some really important innings for this team, and I think he's going to be an absolute monster when he comes up. I know, and I think he's chomping at the bit to get up to the big leagues, man. And I think he's going to take that and run with it. It's going to be like one of the players I listened to earlier. He's going to say, "You're not going to want to play me because you're not going to want to take me out." I think that's going to be him when he comes up.
I agree. I think he's definitely going to be a part of the 2026 season. And I'm like you, it could be sooner than we thought because of what's happened over the last 3 weeks. I'm going to go with the other guy you mentioned, Didier Fuentes. And the reason why I mentioned him having the biggest impact as far as the prospects is the fact he can throw out of the pen. So he'll give Walt and Jeremy and AA a little bit of leeway there. Not that JR couldn't throw out of the pen, but I know they want JR to be a starter. But what I saw this spring out of Didier, he almost makes the perfect opener. Like you could go out there and throw him, and to give Chris Domino a little tout, he believes that every baseball team should have that. Somebody can come out and throw the first 3 innings of a game twice a week. It would save your pitching staff. And I think he's right on that. I think that in the days era, and if Didier can do that, now if he goes into being a starting pitcher this year and gets whatever, but he could save our April by doing just that. Or if they want to bring him in as long relief or however they want to do it, but to me, Didier could have the biggest impact. But I think we were spot on with these two here. You know, they are they're the two guys that look like could definitely make an impact. And look, if the rest of them are any of the rest of them get here, Caminiti, Hill, any of those, Murphy, then the season has probably really went south. And so those are the two that are closest, and I agree that's probably the biggest impact. So yeah, I think we're a spot on that. Now talking about pitching going into 2026 on a scale of 1 to 10. Now we got to go by what we know right now. What grade do you give this, and why?
I gave it a 6.5, Ken. I personally really like the bullpen. If I'm just rating the bullpen, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. The bullpen is legit. They are good. They got to stay healthy, obviously. The starting pitching is where my concern is, and I think I was nice giving the pitching rotation 6.5 because of how questionable the starting rotation is. Um, Look, Bryce is going to be a number 5. Grant, if he's good, he's going to be a solid 3 or 4. Can he stay healthy? We ask that question all the time. The number 3 is Raylo. We have absolutely no idea what he's going to do. Number 2 is going to be Strider when he comes back. Strider, I think, is going to be a solid number 2 or number 3. And of course, the one question mark we don't have to ask is Chris Sale. He's going to be the Cy Young. But I gave it a 6.5. Ken, what do you think?
I think you're close. It's the old school teacher in me. uh, with 70 being passing, I'm going to give them a 7 to pass because the bullpen is so good and they do have Chris Sale. I think that you're spot on. I just give them a passing grade, but I can see it being a failure if those 3 through 5 starters don't do something. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give it a 7. So I know she got me a Sean Murphy sighting. He can make the pitching a lot better too himself because he does a really good game caller and a good game prepper. So as far as the hitters, what kind of grade do you give those hitters?
I gave it the same. Six and
Okay.
a half. I really really enjoy the adjustments these guys are making. I think Riley has really turned it on in spring training. He looks phenomenal. Michael Harris looked really good. He looked like a completely different hitter in spring training this year. I really like that. I mean, getting Ronald back is going to be good. Ozzy Albies had a sneaky good spring, chat. Hey, he looked good in the WBC and he carried it back over into spring training. I think he's going to have a good year. But again, it's going to come down to, can they do it? Can they stay healthy? Can they do it? I I got to see it for a couple months before I give it a passing grade. So right now I give them a 6.5, but it has the potential to be a 9.5. How about you?
That's pretty tough. I like it. Hey, tough love, tough love. I
Tough
don't mind
love.
it. I give him an 8. I think it's one of
Fun.
the better. I think it's one of the better lineups in baseball. I think as a fan of a team, sometimes you don't always notice what other teams are going through. I do know that we have one of the best catchers in the game in Drake Baldwin as far as a hitter. I know
Facts.
Matt Olson's one of the best first basemen, and Austin's one of the best third baseman, and Ronnie is one of the best players in the game.
Period.
And so, because of that, I think I really believe that this offense is going to hit this year. And if Michael and Ozzy can literally have those games, I mean, those halves that you want them to have and be consistent, this team could really take off and actually be a 9.5, like you said. They have the capability, and when Kim and Murphy come back, Walt will have the maneuverability. And just think if this happens, if they both come back and Dom Smith keeps hitting the way he has, it's going to make some interesting moves here. And so I'm going to give him an 8. I expect big things out of this offense. And I think the addition of Yastrzemski is going to be huge. When him and Dubon get to platoon in left field, it's going to be one of the best left fielders in the game if you put their numbers together. So I'm going to give them an 8. But it's going to be interesting because, like I said, when Kim and Murphy come back, there's a lot of decisions that this staff's going to have to make. Well, that guy right there, Ronald Acuna, I'll tell you something. He has a year like he had his MVP type year is going to be a 9.5 offense because when
There's no doubt about that.
he goes, this team goes. Um, so speaking of that, we're talking about all the decisions you're going to make. Guess what we have this year, Ryan? We have a new coaching staff,
We do.
and that's the one thing that we really don't really know. This is what I believe about the coaching staff, Ryan. You can tell me I'm wrong. I don't mind. I believe that this is the part of that nobody's taking the equation. I think this is the part that can carry us to the playoff. I think the new blood is going to be so hungry. Nothing against my friend who I thought was at the end of his tenure, and thank God we're going to put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, the Braves Hall of Fame because he deserves to be in the Braves Hall of
100%.
Fame.
Yep.
But I think that this team is going to have fire. I think you've seen that this spring. They have a lot of energy. They're excited. And I like what Hefner is doing, even with some of the different pitch selections and making some of the pitchers throw some different pitches. You saw that really with Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Same Wentz got hurt, but even the rest of them, I like the way. That's the reason why I think there's upside to beat up because I think he maybe can do something with him. And then hires, but adding Anton, I already see it. We running the bases better. I see it. And this coaching staff, I'm watching Eddie Perez up on the ledge, and I'm watching these other guys. They're into it. This is a coaching staff that wants to prove themselves, and they have a great opportunity to do that this year. And I believe that they can be the difference. They are the thing that nobody's taking into account. Not that they're any better than what we had. We had good coaches before, but and I've always said an old guy can coach as good as a new guy. It, but it's the fire in the old guy that has to be there. And I think we lost a little bit in the old former coaching staff. Look, a lot of went through it. People have got to put this in the thing. Brian had been around the game a long time. Craney had stuff going on with his wife. I can't even imagine what it was like coaching a major league ball team with your wife going through that.
Yeah.
And other stuff was happening across the board. This group is ready to go, and I think they can be the difference on them winning. So you tell me that I'm wrong, go ahead, but I think this could be the difference. What do you think?
I think you're spot on, and I'm not just saying that to fluff your feathers, buddy. I legit like. What was the one thing everybody talked about in 24 that we did not have or that we were missing from the previous years? What was the one thing? What was the one coach? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, Ron. Wash.
Wash left, and everybody's like, "Man, that Wash and EY gone," and they brought that edge to the ballpark every single day, and that was noticeably missed. But you can tell it in spring training, man. You can tell the way the guys are carrying themselves. You can tell them just how they're doing interviews now. Like they are locked in. They are ready to go. They are pissed off about the last 2 years, and they are itching to prove that that is not them. And look, I just want to remind everybody. I know we're talking about the pitching staff a lot. I'm getting off a little topic here, but 2023's pitching staff wasn't really that good.
Oh,
Offense, if they're good, we're going to be good. And getting that little bit of attitude back in the dugout from the coaches, that's going to go a long way to helping those guys be locked in every single day. So I 100% agree with you, man. That's a big difference.
yeah, and I want to say this, and I get sometimes in arguments in this. I do not disagree with one of you who thought Brian didn't have an edge the last year. I agree, but
Yes.
anybody that ever been around Brian before is a fiery guy that he brings it, and I agree with you 100%. That's what they got back with Walt. They got a martial arts guy can kick anybody's butt, and we're going to go down the thing and fight. Kind of what um, uh, Walsh is going to bring, and Walsh is going to. You watch, Walsh is going to bring that to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dangerous team out there. That's at like 4,000, 40 to 1 or 50 to 1 odds to win the World Series. I'm not a gambling man, but you're a gambling man. Keep an eye on that bunch because they're going to have fire. Because they have a fiery manager and they have Wash. I think we have the same thing in this group here. And look at Hefner; he's got something to prove, and his rival is in the division. I just think it's going to be really, it's going to be a special year for this coaching staff. So, with that said, we got to make our predictions. Before we do the records and all that, give me something that a bold prediction out there that maybe nobody's even thought about. That could be the difference in this team, or something you may think is even going to happen, Ryan.
All right, I got two.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the little monster, Ozzy Albies. He's gonna end the year at an 820 OPS with 25 bombs. And you might look at me like I'm crazy. All I'm gonna say is Ozzy Albies had his best year walking last year. He had the best plate discipline in his entire career in 2025. If he carries that over to what I've seen in spring training, he's going to have a really good year, and nobody's going to be questioning second base ever again. My second part is this is going to be a surprise. I think Michael Harris is going to have 40 walks this year. And that's a big jump for Michael Harris. I think he walks 40 times this year.
Well, he walks 40 times, in my breakout player is spot on, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
think
is. He got a
I
good year.
mean, he could be tremendous, and I hope for him he does. I hope for Ozzy. I think Ozzy's probably the most loved Brave by the players and even by maybe the fan base. Anybody says a negative word about Ozzy, it's just they get mad because he struggled.
Yeah.
Nobody's upset about him struggling more than he is. He gives us everything he's got, and I hope to God he has the kind of year you say he has because I want him to. He's the kind of guy to give us a friendly contract at the end of his career. He could
I
play the
want
rest of
him.
his career in Atlanta, and I would love that.
Yes.
All right, my bold prediction. It's funny that you took your bold prediction, and on my breakout player, let's take my bold prediction on your breakout, and that's Austin Riley. Austin Riley is going to hit 40 home runs this year.
Tanks.
Yes, tanks. And he's going to finish in the top five of the MVP. There is nobody, to me, more dedicated than Austin Riley going into 2026 because Austin Riley, I think, feels like he lost 2 years of his career. And everybody forgot how good Austin Riley was. There were people putting out top 10 lists. Just a shout out to the Tampa guys down there, put a top 10 list out that didn't have Austin Riley top 10 third baseman. And I think he knows, he hears the noise, and that's what you're going to see a lot of. Austin Riley is going to hit tremendous, and I think that's why you've seen him so focused so early this spring. He is going to have a monster year, and he'll be a big difference maker. And I really think he'll hit 40, and he will not lead the team in home runs. Because
I
my
agree.
second bold prediction is that my boy, who I've known forever, is going to hit 50 home runs this year and drive in 130 RBIs. That's
Ooh.
Matty O, baby. Matty
130
O,
steaks?
yes, yes.
Dang.
Because Ronnie
Oh,
and all of them are going to be on in front of him. Drake, he's going to be driving them in.
yes, sir.
And I'm telling you what, Matt's going to have. And I didn't tell you this prior, but could it be we have two to three of the top seven MVP candidates in the league in this lineup of the same year? And you tell me how that team doesn't go to the playoffs. That they could have that kind of special year. I really believe they're going to have that kind of year. I'm like you. I think the Braves are focused. So for me, for the overall prediction, I would say those three having a monster year. The Braves are going to go, let's go 93 and 69. They're going to make the playoffs. And if they stay healthy and a couple of those pitchers come back or a couple of those kids come up and pitch, they could actually go deep in the playoffs. This is not a homer reaction. I just told you, all you negative fans out there, the Braves could have three of the top seven MVP candidates. You name another team in the league that would have that and not make the playoffs. That's not going to happen. They're going to carry this team. And that back end of the bullpen with Suarez and Iglesias is going to lead to a lot of this, a lot of wins, a lot of celebrations. And I really think now, look, the National League East is weird. They're all going
Yes.
to almost end up with the same record. It might not even take 93 wins, but I really believe they can still win the East, avoid being down in the seed, and have to play the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series. And dadgum, if we get them to the NLCS, who knows what happens? One series we can beat them, and if we beat them, guess what? We can win the World Series. Not saying they're going to win the World Series, but I really do think this team's going to make the playoffs. And if they're healthy, they can actually go deep in the playoffs. And that being they healthy would be those big three. Because if those big three do it, we could see this celebration again in Atlanta. What do you say, Ryan?
Well, I think the Braves, they got to stay healthy, obviously, number one. But I think they make the playoffs. I think they win the NL East. But it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to come down to the last week of the season. The record I am predicting for these guys is 89 and 73 as NL East champs. And you know why that holds a special place in my heart, Ken? That was the same number that we had in 2021 when we went all the way and won it all.
If we win it all, I'm all for it.
Also, I think we definitely make an NLCS appearance. And I'm not going to commit to this, but this is what I want to see at the end of the year. I want to see that World Series trophy at the end of the year. Do I think we get there? I don't know. I think we at least make an NLCS appearance this year. I think everybody gets healthy. I think we have a really good year. I think we have a top 5 offense this year. And I think we're going to see a lot of champagne flying in October. And I'm ready for that. I miss it. I need it.
Yeah, we need playoff baseball. Last year was really sad not having the playoff baseball. We need a home game. That's what I want. We
Oh my
we hadn't had a
gosh.
home
It's been
game
two
since
years.
yeah. So and I want a home game and do that. And with that mentioned, you know what we're going to do, Ryan?
What are we going to do?
You know what we're going to do, Ryan?
What's that?
We are going to send a couple of our one of our followers
It's okay.
each round of the playoffs 2 tickets to see a game to Braves in the playoffs. That's what we're going to do. Yes, we
Okay.
are.
Okay.
And if anybody's ever come see me at the stadium, some of y'all are too chicken to come talk to me in person, but come on. But those who have can tell you, Ryan's come over and saw me. I have
Uh,
great seats. I have
they are
great
very
seats.
nice. Very nice seats. Very nice
And
seats.
so we're going to do that. And we're going to do this all year long. Our first giveaway is coming up soon. We're going to announce it tomorrow, but I guess we're announcing it on this podcast, but it'll come out in written form. We're going to give away 2 tickets to the Guardian series with a parking pass. But qualify is easy. You got to follow Ryan. You got to follow me. You got to follow Hardcore Braves. If you do those 3 things on our platforms, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere.
You name it.
Follow us. Yep. Follow us, and you're going to be in the drawing, and you could get 2 tickets and a parking pass free to go see the Guardians and Jose Ramirez play. So we're going to give away all kind of stuff this year, and we're going to have on some guests. We've already been talking to some people. We want to get on even some of y'all on the show. We're going to bring some of y'all on the show. If you're interested, let us know, me and Ryan. And we're finalizing our third. Hopefully, we'll know that soon, and they'll go in the same thing. And we want to hear from y'all. So that's what we're going to do, Ryan. What do you think about all this we're going to try to do?
I'm excited, man. Look, I've been itching to do a lot of content. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious with the amount of hitting stuff I've been posting here lately in the last spring training. Which there's going to be more coming out. I'll be looking to do Mauricio Dubon this weekend. That's going to be my goal, obviously, while watching baseball. But Dubon is the one that's coming up next.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Got anything to add, Ryan, before we close on out here tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm excited.
I am too. So please like, follow, share, tell everybody we want to build this. The more you build this, the more we can give to you. And comment in the section. You tell us where we're wrong, where we were right, where you agree with us, however you want to tell us. We don't get our feelings hurt. We're big men. You can tell us what you think. That's fine. And we're excited. And hopefully soon we'll be able to announce who else is coming on here. And but as always, support the Braves. Good, bad. Tell them how you feel. We love them. And this podcast here is going to be different. A lot of them, we're going to tell both sides. So we're going to be critical when we think they're wrong. We're going to tell them how great when they're great. And it's really just for the hardcore Braves fans. And if you're a hardcore Braves fan, you come on, join with us, and we're going to have some fun this year in 2026. So that's all we got tonight. We love you, gang. Peace.
Peace.